Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. Thanks for joining us. A momentous milestone has been achieved by the Buhari administration in its effort at job creation and economic diversification with the launch of an unprecedented gold purchase program. The ceremony, which took place in a virtual meeting, is part of the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Initiative designed to put a stop to illegal mining in Nigeria as well as standardize mining activities while mobilizing the enormously untapped resource potential in the sector. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the event witnessed a public presentation and handover of a 12.5 kg gold bar valued at over 268 million naira to the Central Bank of Nigeria on behalf of the nation's artisanal miners.
We expect that close to 250,000 jobs would be created for improved gold mining operations. These operations will help in diversifying our revenue base. Improved mining operation could lead to the generation of over 500 million United States dollars annually in royalties and taxes. These developments will also help in improving our foreign reserves by enabling the Central Bank of Nigeria to increase the amount of gold in its reserves. These gold assets, which will be purchased in Naira, will not only help to boost our international reserves, it will also provide a hedge against inflation and other economic volatilities associated with foreign currencies that are held in our reserves.
The United Kingdom High Court has reserved judgment on the P&ID case brought before it by the Nigerian government seeking to set aside enforcement of a $9.6 billion arbitration awarded against it in favor of Process and Industrial Developments P&ID Limited, a company registered in the British Virgin Islands. Nigeria's lawyer, Mark Howard, had made a case of fraud and described the deal as a sham from the outset. He said the gas supply purchase agreement stipulated that P&ID was to build a gas processing facility in Cross River State and that the government was to supply wet gas up to 400 million standard cubic feet per day that will be processed to generate electricity. He, however, asserted that the deal was a grand scheme conceived by an Irish businessman working with top government officials to defraud the country. Howard also alleged that Nigeria had previously uncovered unknown payments to Vera Tega, a daughter of a former Director of Legal Services at the Petroleum Ministry, Mrs. Grace Tega. He made a list of two payments, tranches of over $4,969.50 made on December 30th, 2009, 11 days before the deal was signed, and a second payment of $5,000 on January 31st, 2012, as well as another payment of $50,000 to one Taufik Tijani, who chaired the government technical committee that reviewed the gas plant contract. Tijani was said to have admitted receiving $50,000 in cash from the late P&ID project director, Neil Hitchcock, after meeting with Queen. The UK High Court Judge Ross Cranston had, after a two-day virtual court hearing of submission from both parties, said he would take time to study the submission before giving a date for ruling. Now to the legislature, where the Senate says the new management of the Federal Inland Revenue Service is bracing up with reforms needed to expand Nigeria's revenue base. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, gave the commendation during the passage of the 2020 budget of 168 million naira of the service. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
The passage of the 2020 budget of the Federal Inland Revenue Service was accompanied by the approval of 100 billion naira one-off special intervention fund to assist the Federal Inland Revenue Service to, among other projects, complete its head office within 12 months and 6 training schools.
Henceforth, the budget of FIRS for any financial year must be approved by the Senate by the end of October of the preceding year. This is to ensure strict compliance with the January to December financial year. Consequently, all below-the-line accounts accruing to the service in this year must be approved by the National Assembly.
The observation of the Senate Committee on Finance that the management of the current Federal Inland Revenue Service is making giant strides in innovation was applauded by the Parliament.
The new executive chairman, upon assumption of duties, has been able to come up with various initiatives to block the leakages that hitherto existed within the system.
I think that the FIRS, under the new leadership, is a focused leadership and a level-headed leadership.
When you look at the gas income projection, last year nothing was realized, but this year, I mean, he is saying he will be able to make about 420-something billion this year. So I think it's a tall order, but I think he will be able to make it.
And I also want to commend the new management of the Federal Inland Revenue Service for the efforts they are making to reform the service for better, effective, and more efficient performance.
The Senate recommended the digitization of all processes in the administration tracks in Federal Inland Revenue Service. From the National Assembly, Ignatius.
Still staying with the National Assembly, the Nigeria Communications Commission has been charged to ensure that unregistered SIM cards cease to exist to reduce crime in Nigeria. This was the advice of the Senate Committee on Communications at the screening of Professor Umar Garba Dambata for reappointment as Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission. John Yaku has more.
The screening followed nomination of Professor Dambata by President Muhammadu Buhari as provided for by the law. Senators were in agreement with his nomination to finish the battle against unregistered SIM cards and be innovative in ways that communication technology will be of benefit to all Nigerians in times like this.
I will urge the Executive Vice Chairman to continue the drive to make sure that any unregistered SIM card cannot be used in this country.
These elements will know that when they use these facilities to commit criminality, we'll go after them, and in a lot of ways we'll get them.
One of the reasons why schools are still closed is because several of our public schools don't have access to technology to be able to use that for education. How do we use that for our health sector?
Professor Dambata promised to build on the achievements recorded by the Commission in the last 5 years.
But we have not rested on our oars. We have devised innovative ways of finding those responsible for even selling the pre-registered SIMs.
If confirmed, Professor Dambata will serve another 5-year term as Chief Executive Officer of the Commission. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has issued a warrant of arrest on the acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Professor Daniel Ponde, and members of the Interim Management Committee. This is in response to his working out on the investigative hearing by the House Committee on NDDC. The committee is investigating allegations of financial malfeasance at the NDDC. Minutes into the commencement of the hearing, the acting managing director staged a walkout.
Chairman of this committee, presiding over a matter in which he is an accused party.
If you have anything against the chairman of this committee, there are many ways you can report your matter. You either go to EFCC or ICPC or police, SSS, go to them, complain whatever you want to complain against the chairman, but the rules of the parliament, nobody will come and dictate to us here that the chairman cannot sit, because this is not the matter in question. This is not the matter before us now.
And from the National Assembly, we take you to our Lagos Network Center, where Hingino is on standby. Hello, it's over to you.
Thank you, Hawa. Doctors on the payroll of the Lagos State government are back to work after a 3-day warning strike over issues of welfare and safety. Joy Ken Abakwea monitored activities at some state-owned hospitals in Lagos.
For 3 days, medical activities at state-owned hospitals in Lagos were almost at a halt following the absence of doctors. However, the doctors have returned to their duty posts and the hospitals are back to being a beehive. Patients who bore the brunt of the industrial action are glad it is over.
I saw a doctor, so they attend to me very well. I'm very, very happy because I was even afraid maybe they will send me back.
It's just that the work is too slow because people are much based on the 3 days strike. So they compiled all the work together today.
My relation is here and they were quite attentive.
In a statement to call off the strike, Chairman Medical Guild Olujimi Shodipo says the body will continue to engage government to find a lasting solution to issues that resulted in the strike. The doctors under the auspices of the Medical Guild had embarked on a warning strike over wage disparity between the federal and state government doctors, non-payment of hazard allowances, and the disengagement of doctors at the isolation centers. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakwea, NTA News.
Let's now take you to the maritime sector, where the industry is capitalizing on interagency synergy as a means of improving service delivery for seamless operations, enhance security within the anchorage areas, and boost the sector's contribution to the nation's GDP. Michael Olaleye reports.
The fight against the COVID-19 pandemic is basically not a health issue alone, but it is about the survival of the human race and a battle which can only be won through the weaponry of synergy. This synergy is what the maritime community is promising to exhibit henceforth at achieving cost-effective port system under conducive atmosphere.
Some of our areas of concern had been the security in the Gulf of Guinea and our enhanced collaboration around the fact that all our secure anchorage areas will be accommodated within the Deep Blue project is one of the, I think, first areas of success that we've achieved in terms of our improved collaborations.
Part of the resolutions at this meeting is the automation of 98% of port operations in order to remove the bottleneck associated with human interface and drive global competitiveness.
There are laws that, or international conventions that we must domesticate. They will go to the issue of cost and the ease of doing business. And we are going to set up a strong legal committee to make sure that the National Assembly will, domesticate these conventions.
The floating dock that arrived in Nigeria for over a year now, we agreed with NPA MD that by the end of July, we should be able to move that floating dock and put it into use. And that will generate employment for not less than 350 with enormous revenue for the federal government.
The interest of this forum is to harness the advantages of mutual understanding for national developments. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And now away from maritime, tackling the rising cases of sexual violence in Nigeria will require breaking the culture of silence among rape victims and all concerned. This was highlighted during a webinar lecture organized by the Center for Black African Arts and Civilization, CBAC, to end sexual violence in Nigeria. Amaka Owo reports.
Data has it that there has been a sporadic rise in rape incidents, with about 717 cases recorded in the last 6 months. To chart the way forward, the Center for Black African Arts and Civilization, CBAC, believes there is need to advance human rights through sensitization, as this will help victims seek and be served justice.
On the topic
that is very contemporaneous, and then it's very worrisome to parents, to husbands, to wives, to children, to adults.
It is one of the least prosecuted crimes in the world. This unfortunate phenomenon has wreaked tremendous havoc on our society.
The need for paradigm shifts in the way victims of sexual assault and rape are harassed, blamed and shamed is critical in breaking the culture of silence. Professor of Sociology Fumi Bameke emphasized this and noted that it is the reason why 53% of rape cases are not reported in Nigeria. The professor captured this in her lecture titled Reflection on Culture of Silence and Rising Wave of Sexual Violence.
Silence must be broken, and it cannot be broken just by the victim alone. Everyone must, participate in these must take action to break these jinx and to ensure that we have a society that is safe for all girls, safe for all boys, and safe for everyone.
With about 40% prevalence of rape cases among women as against 0.022% among men, women are said to be endangered from cradle to grave. Participants advocate adequate funding for victims of rape, implementation of laws against perpetrators, and increased sexual education. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
We now take a break. Nationwide continues shortly.
In times like this, the coronavirus is spreading so fast. The use of face masks has become very vital. More importantly, for the elderly in the society whom their immune system is not strong enough to fight the disease. If you must go out, use a face mask. It is not comfortable, but it is necessary. Wear your mask, I wear my mask. So much to do, but stay at home for your own safety. Make an extra washable mask and share with your neighbor. Everyone should use a face mask once you leave home to be safe from the coronavirus, especially the elderly persons in our society. Protect me, I'll protect you. This message was brought to you by the Coalition of Societies for the Right of Older Persons in Nigeria, COSRAPPing, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
You know, if you touch black man, if you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make the cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200.
Take your change now. You know what your change is?
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. May una wash una hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so e no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's nationwide. The Niger State government has taken delivery of drugs and hospital consumables donated by Nigeria's First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, through her pet project, Future Assured. Rodkan Dimka reports on the official presentation of the items at the Mina General Hospital.
Aisha Buhari Foundation, a non-governmental organization set up to advocate the well-being of women, children and adolescents. The foundation has been intervening in the health and education sectors, rendering assistance to the less privileged. This time around, the foundation is presenting drugs and hospital consumables for children of ages 0 to 12. These medications are to be dispensed to those in need of them at no cost at all. The Special Advisor to the President on Domestic and Social Events, Mrs. Zainab Kasim, presented the items donated to the state government. Wife of Niger State Governor Dr. Amina Abubakar Bello, represented by wife of the Secretary to the State Government, Hadiza Mohamed Shiru, receiving the items on behalf of the state government, described the gesture as remarkable.
Gesture will go a long way in assisting indigent families, especially in this period of pandemic where a lot of families have been thrown into shock. Most of the drugs here are for children. This is to show how kind-hearted and magnanimous First Lady is.
The drugs and consumables are to be stocked in the pharmacy of the Mina General Hospital and expected to be dispensed for free. In Mina, Rodkan Dimka, NTA News.
And Sadia in Sokoto has more reports on Nationwide. Sadia?
Thank you, Hawa. The Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, has applauded the ongoing construction of modern rural grazing area by the Zamfara State government, describing the project as an instrument in the effort to achieve lasting peace in the state. General Buratai made the remarks while inspecting the project at Maradun local government area of the state. Salam to Umar Abdullahi reports.
Zamfara State government recently embarked on the construction of a modern rural grazing area, Ruga, in Maradu local government area of Zamfara State as part of strategy to consolidate on the gains of the ongoing peace process. The project, which has now reached about 70% stage of completion, covers nearly 2,500 hectares of land, comprising grazing areas, housing units, mosques and sporting facilities, among others. The Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, accompanied by heads of security agencies in Zamfara State, was at the project site to see things for himself. He was conducted round and briefed on various aspects of the work by Zamfara State Governor Alhaji Bello Muhammad. General Buratai applauded the governor for the wonderful initiative, expressing optimism that the project will go a long way in addressing the lingering cases of farmers' herders crash, with a great positive impact on the ongoing effort to achieve lasting peace in the state.
Children government will come to state support as well as other governments to follow up the same thing in their respective states.
Governor Bello Muhammad, who emphasized that the Ruga project was conceived out of his ardent desire to achieve lasting peace, said work on similar project will commence soonest at the other two senatorial districts of the state. The Chief of the Army Staff and his host were also at the Emir of Maradun Alhaji Garba Muhammad Tambari's palace, where he urged traditional religious leaders in the state to continue to cooperate with the security agencies for the success of the ongoing fight against the unrepentant bandits in the state. From Gusau, Salamatu Umar Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, Samaila Yombe Dabai, has expressed federal and Kebbi State government's determination to prevent threats to rice production in the state at this trying time of COVID-19. The Deputy Governor said that this while reacting to invasion of koala birds in some rice farms in Birnin Kebbi. Abdullahi Umar Ilalu reports.
Koala birds are dangerous parasites and capable of wiping out everything in the farm within hours and days. The invasion of koala birds in rice farms has been a major challenge and recurring problem confronting rice farmers across the country. The invasion of some farms, especially states that are predominantly rice producers, has been linked to one of the major factors responsible for food shortage. The Kebbi State Deputy Governor Samaila Yambedabai explained that government has taken the necessary step by flagging up the 2020 National Dry Season Control of Transboundary Migrating Pests in the state, an effort he was optimistic will check the invasion of the birds.
As soon as the first wave of the Quail birds arrive, control begins. So we had already done our control before the flag off. So what you are seeing is the remnants of what is left behind.
Some of the rice farmers who spoke to NTA News on the issue stated that Quail birds invasion has been a challenge to rice production, urging government to do more. In Benin Kebbi, Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
That's it from here. It's back to Hawaii in Abuja.
Many thanks, Sadia, but we are not done with Sokoto. As a philanthropist, Omar Kwabu, German Sokoto, has adopted 163 children, mostly orphaned by the Boko Haram insurgency. The school he established for them in Sokoto is now serving as a citadel of learning. In this report, Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila takes a look at the situation of the children 2 years after the relocation from the troubled northeast.
These children were brought to Sokoto from northeastern states of Nigeria, ravaged by insurgency. 117 among them were from Borno State, 23 from Yobe State, while 23 who are also orphans were drawn from across 23 local government areas of Sokoto State. The philanthropist Alhaji Umarun Kobo AA doesn't only provide shelter to the orphans, but also feeds and provide quality education to them. The 163 orphans comprising 116 boys and 47 girls. In this school, Jarma Yuki Academy, there are 17 conventional and 7 Islamic teachers, in addition to other supporting staff.
We brought them between the age of 6 and 8, and at the initial stage, the proprietor would like them to go through the primary school and secondary school. But at a later time, he also concluded arrangement financially to take care of these children until each and one of them graduate from a university.
The children are taught various subjects and carefully groomed to memorize the Holy Quran, and they are also engaged in extracurricular activities.
We are here in UK German School. They are teaching us very well, and we thanks God and our teachers. We thanks all our guardians.
My name is Belkis Ibrahim Pilina. I'm in JSS 1.
Alhamdulillah, even their education is fine and they are feeling comfortable. They don't have any problem. They are feeling better.
The feeding program in the school is superb. The children are given balanced diet. The Jarma Yuki Academy, located at the residence of Umarun Kobo AA in Sokoto Metropolis, gives the children the opportunity to observe 5 daily prayers and even Friday prayer in congregation.
Some of them, they grow up, but they not even attend school. And also, the problem that we face again among their language, because they speak Kanu.
The performance is quite improved. The pupils, they are getting much better. Because in any place that you start, you must get some challenges. But we are overcoming the challenges by the grace of God.
These orphans are also trained in various vocational trades with a view to making them self-reliant.
When it comes to entrepreneur, he has agreed and volunteered to give all that we need for these children to have skills that even after their university, they will have, one skill or 2 or 3 skill that they will be able to feed on even if they do not have the employment from maybe a government or from a company.
The children are in high spirits and indeed free from the trauma of losing their parents at tender age. The philanthropist declined our request for an interview, obviously avoiding the limelight. In Sokoto, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
And from that inspiring story, we take you to Jenny in Port Harcourt for more reports.
Thank you, Hawa. Good evening and welcome. The PDP National Campaign Council for Edo 2020 has met in Port Harcourt to draw up strategies for the September 19th governorship polls. The meeting, which was hosted by Rivers State Governor Yesa Wike behind closed doors, was attended by the chairmen and secretaries of all the campaign council subcommittees for the Edo 2020.
Briefing the media, the governor of Adamawa State, Amadou Umaru Vintri, who doubles as the deputy chairman of the PDP National Campaign Council for Edo 2020, said the meeting is to strategize on the modalities to ensuring the party returns to power in Edo State.
Edo technically is a PDP state because in the last election 2019, we virtually won all the elections in Edo State, so it's not coming by surprise that the governor had to shift his ground from APC to join with us. I think, again, putting the two forces together, there's nothing that is left behind.
The PDP National Campaign Council Publicity Secretary, Edo 2020, Raymond Dopesi, said the National Campaign Council will work closely with the Edo State Campaign Council to provide the needed support to ensure total victory for the PDP in Edo.
For the South-South, it is an honor to ensure that the 6 states in the South-South zone belongs to the PDP and every support and the leaders of the party.
The meeting continues further deliberations Wednesday. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyikwe, NTA News.
And now to security. The anti-kidnapping unit of the Nigeria Police Force has recovered the corpse of a 38-year-old kidnapped victim in Eleme, River State. The victim was killed after the kidnappers collected a ₦1 million ransom. Robinson Darataide reports.
This is Alessa Farm Road, Eleme local government area of River State, where the kidnapped victim was tied and killed after 5 days.
The victim, Dinabari Gospel Ereba, is an indigene Obera community in Gukana local council area of River State who supplies water in Port Harcourt. He was kidnapped on the 15th of May 2020 by a 5-man gang in Port Harcourt and transported to the Alessa forest in Eleme, where he was tied to a tree and left to die. The anti-kidnapping unit, led by the commander Edward Shadore, tracked the kidnappers following an official report by the victim's family, leading to the arrest of 2 out of the 5 suspects.
In the course of the investigation, one of the suspects was arrested. His confession led to the arrest of another suspect. Now, the further confessions took the man to this forest. After kidnapping the man, kept him for 5 days, and then tied him to this tree, where the man eventually died.
One of the suspects confessed that disagreement over sharing formula from the ransom led to the death of the victim after 5 days in captivity.
The misunderstanding between Oga Zik and him boys will take care of the work here and make them kill the man.
The police assured that the kidnappers will be charged to court at the completion of investigation. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Terateide, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. Hawa is back to you in Abuja.
Very well, Jenny. And moving on here in Abuja, as part of efforts to revamp the non-oil sector of the economy, the Nigerian Institute of Soil Science and the National Accreditation Service have signed a memorandum of understanding to pursue best options for soil development. Omenka Amara Chuku reports that the MOU was signed in Abuja.
Nigeria's revenue has constantly come from 2 sources of oil and non-oil sector. Oil has historically been the most significant contributor to the budget finance of the nation. With the dwindling price of oil in the international market, Nigerian Institute of Soil Science and National Accreditation Service have come together to see how best to promote sustainable management of soil resources for protection, conservation, and sustainable productivity.
We are working together to ensure that all personnel involved in soil-related matters, our own case soil scientists, are qualified to practice that profession. Because the soil scientists are the ones that make, just like doctors, that recommend drugs for patients.
Proudly today we're signing this MOU for the purpose of providing support for the NISS so that they can also, deliver on their mandate of providing scientific data, providing guidance, providing different kind of research work.
It is hoped that with this endorsement between the two bodies, attaining food security through improved agricultural practices in Nigeria is underway. In Abuja, Umenka Marchuku, NTA News.
And our Just Network Center is next. Caleb is our guide. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Howard, and welcome to JOS. 1,000 school children from various vulnerable communities in Plateau State have received learning materials distributed by some philanthropic organizations. The learning materials are to encourage children of school age to study at home while the global fight against coronavirus continues. Alisa Patukai Andrew reports.
The learning material was distributed to children under the age of 12 to enhance their learning ability and encourage reading while schools remain closed.
Some are privileged, but because these vulnerable children don't have anybody to do it for them, we decide to just assist with the help of the community.
Let us be reading it and should be healthy with it. Feel so happy about the gift they give me.
The children were taught on signs and symptoms of COVID-19, ways to prevent themselves from contracting the virus, and how to utilize their time at home.
And with time, we'll come and just check on the children to see how they're faring. At times, we'll even go outside Plateau to work and see the satisfaction of the community who are vulnerable.
The first phase of the distribution was at Rikos and Jenta Ademu communities, where 200 children, including orphans, benefited from the gesture. Kingdom Kids Club, in collaboration with NTA Just Network Center and other non-governmental organizations, will continue to follow up on the education of these children to ensure the desired aim is achieved. In Jos, Alisa Botukai Andrew, NTA News.
Respite is on the way for Twanchik and Canton Guise communities of Jos South local government of Plateau State following the ongoing construction of the bridge linking the two communities to other parts of the state. The construction of the bridge is facilitated by the member representing Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency, Dachung Musa Bagos, with direct labor provided by the communities. Comfort Biang-Ten tells us more.
This is the experience of the people of the area over the years, especially during the rainy season. But succor is coming their way following the visit of the House of Representatives member to the area and was moved with compassion to fix the bridge.
Our joy knows no bound. We are so happy. Nobody will say that he's not happy with this one. Even Devil is happy with the level of work that he's doing.
To have an asset road to our place. A lot of people don't want to come to our place because of our road.
This bridge, when completed, will ease connection between the two communities, making their social and economic life simple.
And it is my call to every community. Let every community put out its own project. This is what you need, not what government want to do for you. As long as you come out with your own plans, then we'll put it in our own plans.
The member maintained that he will continue to explore further avenues of putting smiles on the faces of the rural dwellers. In Jos, Comfort Biang-Ten, NTA News.
That's it from Jos, but we shall take another break here and rejoin Hawa shortly.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
She cried. She cried in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry meant nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she is left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their bestiality. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists.
This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority. And
any act of corruption to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
It's still nationwide. Thanks for staying. The Bauchi state government says it is refocusing time and resources towards reducing incidents of vulnerability amongst orphans and less privileged children in the state. To achieve this goal, the state government, in collaboration with Pro Health International, has launched a USAID-funded integrated child health and social services project to assist children in the areas of health, safety and education. Charity Zaka completes the report.
It is a well-known fact that less privileged children, especially in the rural communities, are mostly exposed to various forms of health and social hazards. The situation, which has been an issue of great concern to governments and international organizations, need collaborative efforts to enable the affected children become productive in their respective communities. The USAID Integrated Child Health and Social Service Award 4 has pledged to sustain its assistance to Bauchi State.
For us, we hope to, within the 5 years, be able to carry out interventions that will be able to help reduce the tide and the prevalence of the infection of HIV and other related causes that might make children more vulnerable and their household.
They are caregivers, that is, they are mothers, and most of them, you see them, they are widow, and we really have that issue. A lot of them, they have been a victim. So this partnership with them will help us, at least help our poorest.
The collaboration targets 75,010 beneficiaries and hope to attain 90% of its set target at the end of the year 2020. In Bauchi, Charity Zaka, NTA News.
To security now, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Adole has destroyed the Boko Haram terrorist camp and neutralized several of the fighters in massive airstrikes executed at Gurin, Ghana, along the Gulumba-Ghana-Kumshi axis in the northern part of Borno State. A statement by the Coordinator Defense Media Operations says the operation was carried out on the heels of human intelligence reports indicating that the settlement was one of the locations from where the terrorists launched attacks. Aerial surveillance missions also confirmed the heavy presence of a large number of Boko Haram terrorists in the settlement, some of whom were seen slinging their rifles. The Air Task Force thereafter launched coordinated attacks on the various targets within the settlement, employing an enhanced force package of Nigerian Air Force fighter jets and helicopter gunships. The attack aircraft took turns in engaging the designated locations within the settlement, scoring devastating hits which led to the destruction of several structures, including the communication center. Asoro State, the Council of Chiefs says it is supporting government to rid the state of increasing criminal activities with active participation of the people and security agencies. Aliu Tijani Muhammad reports.
Again, the council is in Lafia to find lasting solution to security challenges bedeviling parts of the state as Governor Abdullahi Sule and leadership of ethnic groups attended. The council resolved that vigilante groups be actively involved in policing communities so as to complement operation of security agencies. They also want newly inaugurated community police team swing into action.
We cannot say that as fathers of the land we sit back when we see some of our children have gone the other side of the road.
Governor Sule commends traditional rulers for being proactive in addressing security challenges, assuring members about commitment by government to end banditry, kidnapping and other crimes.
I also want to call on you to fish out all these people who are not interested in ensuring that we have peace.
They should please go back to their various domains and urge their wards who have erred to come back to the right path.
Meanwhile, the federal government is building infrastructure in parts of the state to facilitate work of security agencies. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
The Nigeria Immigration Service is redoubling efforts in the fight against border crimes as it seeks synergy with traditional institutions for effective border management. This informed the visit of the Comptroller, Nigeria Immigration Service, Cross River State Command, to the paramount ruler of Calabar South Local Government Area, Professor Itam Hogan Itam. Justina Etim reports.
Calabar South is strategically located in the riverine axis of Cross River states, sharing borders with other communities and neighboring countries, which makes it vulnerable to illegal immigrants and criminal activities. To prevent infiltration of illegality stemming from activities of miscreants into the state, these borders, according to immigration authorities, should be effectively manned to curtail crime. The Nigeria Immigration Service says it therefore requires intelligence gathering, which can be provided from mostly indigenes and residents.
We will be inaugurating and establishing Nigeria Immigration Border Community Relations Committee.
For the traditional ruler, collaborating with the Nigeria Immigration Service to fight crime is not a difficult task, but he is suing for employment opportunities to the youth to divert their attention from social vices.
We look forward to cooperating with him, maximum cooperation, not only to prevent violence, illegal immigration, but also to bring peace.
The Comptroller was conducted round the creeks in Calabar South, where maximum security is required. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
Now to the latest on COVID-19. Reports coming in from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NDDC, says 643 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the country, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 34,259. The 643 new cases recorded from 14 states and the Federal Capital Territory shows Lagos has 230, Oyo 69, FCT 51, Edo 43, Osun 35, Rivers 30, Ebonyi 30, Kaduna 28, Ogun 27, while Ondo reported 23 new cases. Others are Plateau with 20 cases, Benue 17, Enugu 16, Imo 10, and Delta with 6. Lagos remains top on the number of cases per state chart in Nigeria with 12,941 cases. The FCT comes next with 2,738 cases, while Oyo is third with 1,951 cases. There are now 13,999 discharged patients with 760 deaths on record. The need for state governments and stakeholders to put in place adequate quality hospital health care facilities, rapid response team and infectious disease prevention mechanism will help intensify and sustain efforts on the fight against COVID-19. These were the views of guests on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria. Alika Okpanachi Arwa completes the report.
Has recorded close to 35,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and about 760 deaths. Most of these cases are attributed to non-adherence to safety protocols and community transmission, as indicative in latest situation reports in states. To flatten the curve and the further spread of the virus, the guests stressed the need for more testing and risk communication campaigns across the country.
We established Conference Center for Infectious Diseases. So ab initio, with symptoms like cough, fever, and other associated symptoms of COVID-19, you could approach the center. You could also call our helplines.
With respect to Ebonyi State, the situation report as of today is that we have recorded 646 confirmed cases. We also have managed successfully 532 cases managed and discharged.
We can't afford to have what I call pandemic fatigue. You know, we can't see the finish line yet, so we can't afford to have the fatigue, because I can sense that a lot of people are not adhering to those measures that will help us to stop, the transmission of COVID-19 in Nigeria. We can't afford to have that at this stage. We need to adhere to all those things.
While speaking via Skype on the program, the Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says eradicating COVID-19 for Nigeria will take a while. He, however, reaffirms NCDC and Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 continuous support for state governments in the fight against the disease.
Kano State government invested millions of naira. They rose to the challenge. Today, Kano is testing more than any state in Nigeria. They're not finding as many cases anymore. We're confident of their response.
The guests appeal to the public on the need to follow all precautionary measures to protect themselves against the virus. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi, Arwa, NTA News.
Sports now. No doubt, COVID-19 continues to affect global sports. Tamara Ebiwe will tell us more on Sports Update.
The Nigeria Archery Federation is working towards a hitch-free return to competitive activities following a possible return of individual and non-contact sports, as stipulated by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development amid COVID-19 pandemic.
Most of the federations are on top of the game before the lockdown. So I don't think it will be strange for any federation to, if they say resume today, we will not be ready. All we're asking for is, the enabling environment has to be there. Facilities that are required, equipment that are required to ensure that we adhere strictly to the rules, of the COVID-19 preventive measures that we need to take.
Meanwhile, the International Committee of Sports for the Deaf, ICSD, has postponed all its 2020 games to 2021 and 2022 due to COVID-19 concerns. More than 14 events are affected, including the World Deaf Athletics Championships, World Deaf Beach Volleyball Championships, World Deaf Football Championships, World Deaf Golf Championships, World Deaf Judo Championships, as well as World Deaf Taekwondo Championships. ICSD assures member associations on staging the affected events in the new rescheduled dates between 2021 and 2022. Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
And with that public service announcement, we thank you for watching Nationwide today. Thank you, good evening, and stay safe.